was the last time you had a fight with somebody you're close to? You know, was it 5 years ago, a year ago, last month, maybe yesterday? Okay, maybe you're not a fighter, you know. How about an argument? I'm not talking about one of those good old-fashioned debate of ideas kind of arguments. I'm talking about one of those, here we go again, unproductive, circular arguments that you've had over and over and over again in a relationship. Think back to that. When was the last time you had one of those rerun arguments? Now, I want to say, if you're the kind of person who kind of likes to fight and argue, turn the video off. This is not for you. Really, I mean it. Turn it off. Alrighty then. Now that it's just us folks who don't particularly like to fight or argue, I want to ask you a question. What would you say if I offered you an approach to relationship that meant that it would actually become very difficult for you to even remember the last time you had a fight or an argument with someone you love? What would you say? I think you'd probably say, I want that. And you can have it. In fact, in a couple of minutes right here in this video, I'm going to give you a practice that can help you turn a fight or an argument into a connected, loving discussion in a really short time. The practice I'm going to give you comes right out of my workshop, Relating on Purpose. And it's just one of the many effective techniques that I teach during that workshop. My Relating on Purpose workshop is not just some collection of theories that I put together about how to have a more connected relationship. It's actually hands-on techniques. Things that virtually anybody can do or say to reduce conflict and increase connection in their relationships with other people. And it explains how and why those techniques work, so that if you need to tweak them in order to suit your particular situation, you can do that. Again, these are not just some ideas I have about how a relationship works. These are time-tested, proven effective in action by me and by many other people. This approach takes the best of what I've learned over many years, and the practices that I teach, I live. And I've lived. They're what took me on my journey from a series of really problematic relationships in which I was pretty much just a pugnacious conflict junkie. You know, if you don't believe that, just ask folks who knew me back then. To a life that is full of satisfying, fun-filled, and deeply connected relationships with friends, with family. I mean, that surprises even me, and perhaps most importantly, with my beloved spouse. I want that for you. In fact, I want it for every being on the planet, because I believe that if we can bring our personal relationships into this state of peaceful connection, we can change the whole world. Now, right about now, you're probably tapping your foot going, come on, Carol, enough with the change the world thing. Just teach me how to change a fight into connection. So here it is. Whenever. This is important, I mean it. Whenever, every single time you sense defensiveness in yourself or someone else during an interaction, even a little bit of defensiveness, realize this one thing. Anyone who's thinking, speaking, or acting defensively is scared. Always. Every single time. Now, why is it so important to remember that? Because scared is a really primal and intense emotion. And when a human being is scared, they usually do only one of two things. They fight or they flee. And that's a hardwired, instinctual response. It's so deep in us that when we're in the midst of it, when we're scared, we can often feel like we don't really have control over what we say or do. If you want to argue with me about that, or questioning whether it's always true that someone who's feeling defensive is actually scared, let me just put it this way. There's only one reason we think that we need to defend ourselves, and that's because we have a perception that we're under attack. And when we're being attacked, it's actually a natural and healthy response to us to feel scared. We have to make the choice, or am I going to fight or am I going to flee? And here's why realizing that defense equals scared can help you transform a fight or an argument in just a few minutes. You see, it helps you take action that's actually effective rather than action that's ineffective. It helps you hone in on what's really going on. That, by the way, is a key part of the Relating on Purpose workshop. It's teaching you practices and techniques that work, that get you what you want, and it gets you off the treadmill of doing stuff that doesn't work and probably never worked, So what do you do when you realize that whoever is acting or speaking out defensively, whether that's you or the other person, is really scared? Well, you move to create safety immediately. Don't stand there and argue if they're scared. Don't wonder, why do they think they're being attacked? I'm not attacking them. Just move to create safety immediately. Don't try to argue through their defensiveness. Don't try to carry on the conversation, because it's not going to work, because a scared monkey is not worried about having a conversation that's connective and intelligent. It's worried about whether it can fight or flee. So move immediately to create safety. But how do you do that? Here are my ABC steps that can help you move yourself or someone else out of the defensive mode into the connective mode really easily and quickly. Step A. Acknowledge the scared. The moment you recognize defensiveness in yourself, say, right out loud, say, I think I'm being defensive right now, and that means I'm scared. Let's get safer. Now, the moment you recognize defensiveness in someone else, ask, what are you feeling right now? Because out here, it kind of seems to me like you might think that you need to defend yourself. And, what I know about that is that usually means I'm scared. So let's deal with that first. Let's create a place here in our conversation that feels safer to you so we can really connect. So you acknowledge first. That's the A. Step B is breathe. Take 3 deep, complete breaths. Really, 3 deep, complete breaths. I know that can sound a little bit like, yeah, that's what all the gurus say. Breathe, breathe, breathe. But it is important, and I'm going to tell you why. When we breathe, we literally connect ourselves to the here and now. It is our first connection to the here and now. We breathe in what's around us. And here and now is really the only place where we can experience safety. So acknowledge and breathe. And C is calm the primate. Remember, when we're in fight or flight mode, we are dealing with our inner primate. So when you reach step C, you want to do whatever you need to do to bring the primate part of you back to a calmer, less scared state. Take a quick shower, get your Blanny, take a hug from someone, drink a cup of tea, whatever it is. So you're going to acknowledge, breathe, and calm. Do each of these 3 steps in the ABC before you try to continue having a conversation. Because scared primate is not interested in having a discussion. Scared primate is concerned with fight or flight. Now, certainly it helps a lot, in fact, if the person you're having this conversation with understands this concept of defense equals scared and understands it as well as you now do, so that the 2 of you can actually participate in this consciously and willingly, knowing that the idea is to get back to feeling connected. That's why I offer a discount on this workshop for 2 people who want to take it together. That way they have the same language and they understand the concepts together. You can check out the discounts that I have on offer down below the video. So about this time, you might be thinking, I hardly even notice when I'm myself and being defensive. And a lot of times I don't notice when somebody else is being defensive until it's way too late. That's actually okay, because if you take my workshop, I'm going to teach you the 5 early warning signs of defensiveness. That way you can see defensiveness when it's just in the budding stage before it's flowered out into full bloom. And that's just the beginning of what you're going to know at the end of Relating on Purpose. You're also going to learn the most important agreement that 2 people can make to create lasting connection and intimacy. You're going to learn how to consciously plant relationship that flourishes naturally. You're going to discover how to easily come back to grace, as I call it, when you mess up. And it's likely that occasionally you're going to mess up. But I can teach you how to get back to grace. I'm going to give you the 4 keys to troubleshooting relationship dynamics. This is really important because relationship dynamics can really get difficult sometimes. And I especially am going to teach you how to transform yourselves from combatants in interaction to co-solvers in interaction. In addition, you're going to get a wealth of practical right now tips on how to stop fighting, start talking, and get connected with the people you love, even when you're seeming to have a conflict. With this workshop, you get a free copy of my new ebook, Intentional Friendship, 10 Agreements to Create Expansive, Conscious Relationships. It's my guide to building relationships that are functional, sustainable, and fun. Give me 6 hours of your time and attention, and I'm going to give you 3 decades of information, insight, and practical techniques that can shape relationships for you that are more vital, more connected, and more fulfilling than you may ever have believed possible for you. Below this video, you're going to find all the links to the information that you need, about how to register for the next offering of the workshop. There are dates, times, curriculum, any discounts that I'm currently offering. I usually offer an early registration discount, and I offer discounts for people who want to take this together. You can also get special one-on-one follow-up packages where you work with me to get private application mentoring, so you can take these techniques and apply it directly to your specific relationship. Hey, you can even bring me to where you are to present this workshop live for you. You can organize a special online presentation specifically and privately for your family, your household, your club, your church, your organization. Just a quick review, just so that I know you go away from this video with the information that I just gave you. Remember, defensive equals scared. And the way to work with that is to ABC your way back to connection. Acknowledge what's going on. Acknowledge the scared. Breathe. Take a moment to connect with the here and now and calm the primate. Poor little scared primate. Take that information. I hope it's helpful to you. I hope you put it to good use. And I hope that you'll join me for the Relating on Purpose workshop. I fully believe that it will change your life. I know it will change the way you look at relationships forever. And how great is it going to be the day I can ask you, when was the last time you had a fight with someone you love? And you have to stop and scratch your head and think really hard to even remember. Join me for Relating on Purpose. We can make that real.